welcome. Welcome all, welcome all, welcome all. Hope you've had a lovely week. Welcome to every one of the subscribers, this is our open all access, second one in the bounce actually, just because there was a bit of a, a weird action happened last week, which meant we all had to go on live. That was for the giveaway competition, which is running. Wow, that's some small text in there. I may have to hang on one momento. Can I get away with doing that? There you go. So people will be able to see what they're writing now, because that was some small text. We have some people on the comments already. Neil's in the house, and evening. Hello. Perry's in the house. Before the ninja workout. Yep, so evening, just finished lofting the 3-wood up to 16 degrees in time for tonight. Yes, there'll also be, for people who care, there'll be a video coming very soon on 3-woods. And there's this, Dominic, hello, how are you? Hope all is well. Just, have I put this to everyone? I want to make sure that I put this to everybody, because I have this tendency sometimes to forget that I've public. Okay, no, it's good. That's right. I just want to make sure. And so yeah, there's loads of videos out there at the moment. There seems to be more and more videos that are pumping out there with people saying strike your 3-wood, never miss hit your 3-wood, or all this kind of stuff. I'm hoarding golf balls starting now. Yes, Dominic, there will be conversation had about that very, very shortly. And so I wanted to do a video on that, basically, because I'm worried about the amount of content that's going out there at present time about smash your 3-wood. And to be fair, I'll be honest, but there's a lot of people that really shouldn't even be having 3-woods. And so I wanted to do a video on what speed you need to swing to make a 3-wood functional. I think that will be a bit more of a fun one, because it will eye-open people as to what kind of speed you really need to have a 3-wood functional in a certain sense. There's 2 ways to have a 3-wood. While I'm holding a pen, I always have something in my hands, or I spin my wedding ring, kind of things like that. Golf Sim Spike. Hey, my brother, Spike on my new golf only. There we go. Right, anyone who's about, give Golf Sim Spike a shout out and a follow and a sub. Go on. Why not? Don's in the house. Hello, Don. Hope you're well. Evening, Jay. So, yep, we've got people. Oh, yes, it's the big open live this week. It is. And so we're going to be talking about the giveaway and question 2, which is coming up. And I have, there you go. That was the question for tomorrow. If I can get the video done in time, obviously that one is. Karma Kitten. What a great name that is. I measured my 3-wood at 112, was it? 112 swing speed at the sim Friday night. Wow, my zz. What simulator was that, Camera Kitten? Can you let us know, was that a radar or was that a camera-based sim? Was it SkyTrack? Was it this kind of things? What was it? Golf Zone. Oh, that's a good question. I'm not very up with Golf Zone and how they measure stuff. But is it infrared and stuff like that? You know, how the, yeah. But yeah, 112 with a 3-wood. Yeah, you're definitely going to be in the sector for 3-woods fine. Wow. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that's coming forward, because that's coming soon. Sorry, that will be an interesting video to do. Steve's in the house. Good evening, Jay. Yeah, heart is my best club. I'm not surprised at 112 miles an hour. And so we've got other content as well coming, but obviously what the giveaway to talk about. I appreciate the push anytime. So the giveaway is going to be an interesting one, because I've got a more of an open-ended, not a multiple choice. So it does require people to have a little bit more of a think about it and a bit more of a guess. And I will, because it's not going to be A, B, C, D or E or whatever it will be a case of guess what you think this is. And I think it might be a 2-part one, which is going to be more fun because that means we can then put ranges in there within 20%, within 40%, 60%, 80%, 100% of the guess of the actual answer. Vishal, hello Vishal, hope you're well. Hello all. Nice to have you along. Perry says my 3-wood standard loft is 14.5 and I put it up to 16 for my swing speed. Barry, I'll be honest, I've got a 15 3-wood and I stick that to 17. The first thing I do with any 3-wood. And I should be receiving my samples very soon. More on that later of Mizuno messing up. Guys, you know I love Mizuno. I've played Mizuno irons for a long time, and because it's my choice of wanting to play Mizuno irons, because I like the feel and the looks and everything else like that. Vishal says, all good, back from overseas travel, tired but so glad for this live stream. You can sit back and fall asleep to me. Yeah, make sure that comes out right. So, but yeah, I'll be receiving my ST230 samples and also my Mizuno Pro irons, my media samples. I should be getting 5, 7 and 9 in the 241, 243, 245, my Mizuno Pro Fly High in the 2, the black driving iron in the 2, yes, the 2, crazy. And I should be getting my ST30 Max driver, fairy wood and hybrid as well. It should be interesting. So first thing I do with my 3-wood is ram it straight up to 17 degrees straight away, because I'm looking for functionality as well. So Don says 2-stage rocket. Don, sorry, I'm trying to look back now. What did Don say? Evening, Jay. I can't remember what I've said for you to reply 2-stage rocket, but I do this. Kyle's in the house. Hello, Kyle. Hi, guys. Better late than never. Well, you're not late. You're only 6 minutes. Vicious. Oh, we got back from overseas travel. Neil with a double E. There you go. Hello, everybody. I'm on fire tonight. Very good. It's a fire engine being chased by fire, by the looks of that. You are. Will all your samples be with your lie? That's what Mizuno has messed up with. So the whole idea that mine were going to be late. I understood they were going to be late. I accepted they're going to be slightly later than everybody else's, all the other YouTubers that get the Mizuno Pro samples. Because mine were going to get sent from Cumbernauld where they get manufactured. All of you guys, all in Europe at least, when you order your set of Mizunos from the account which you've got fit from, and then they send the order to Mizuno Cumbernauld in Scotland. They fabricate it, box it up, and off it goes. Mine were not going to come to me. They were going to go to Mizuno HQ first for them to be sent to Al on the tour van. And so Al can tweaky, you know, all of them, and send them to me via the power of UPS. However, Cumbernauld either didn't get the memo or someone's messed up anyway. So they're coming to me, which is no good, because that means now I've got at least 2 degrees out of my lie. I don't care about shaft. I don't care about the grip necessarily. I've got my preferences, of course I have. But one thing I'm a stickler for is lie. Why? I'm a stickler for making sure you guys get custom fit. And the interesting thing is that the worse you are, the more important custom fitting can be. It really can. So the people say that I'm not good enough to be in custom fit yet. I'm going to wait until my swing gets more consistent first before I spend the money on custom fit. I understand what the mentality and the thought process is going on ahead. Actually, it's completely opposite way around. There's certain things when it comes to being custom fit that yes, if you're going through swing changes, having an understanding of what the swing changes are and how they are going to affect your ongoing delivery numbers, and so what you require for specifications is important. That's why you should always have lessons with a coach that custom fits as well, or a custom fitter that coaches as well. We're talking about an individual that has a holistic, yeah. Brutus of Troy, don't get fit, if you're having lessons, well, I've fitted many people that I am either coaching or I know are having coaching, and I know they understand. So the problem that you have if you're getting fitted whilst you're having lessons from a custom fitter, which is not a coach, that they haven't got a very good understanding of how golfers' dynamics change depending on obviously what swing changes they need to make. And of course they will just fit for what they see that day. If you get fit from a coach which custom fits and a custom fit which coats, or whichever one it'll be, they understand that if you change your wrist angle from this position to that position, call it whatever you want, but effectively trying to change a path and change a face angle, change a line number or whatever it be, they understand the direction you're going to go. And so therefore you can get fitted into a certain direction of where you need to be. And so therefore that equipment, which is different to your current equipment, which is fighting you every single time you try and make a change, this new equipment actually gets better as you get better. So that's the whole idea of doing it properly. Jack Wood says, I had a mate ask me this question, but I don't know how to answer. How is it you do now? Possibly. How is a draw meant to go further than a fade? Shouldn't left side spin just be the same as right side spin, or what else affects this? Jack, that is a bloody good question. I say with a bloody good question, I'm allowed to say bloody from the point of view of the people that get freaked out. I'm not a great swearer anyway, especially live. But YouTube has changed the policy, so I can get away with the odd, don't have to bleep it, but bloody's not, you know what I mean. Oh, that's a really, really good question, and I will answer that because you have a point there, and most people do not understand that whole idea, and it's a really good one. So I will get to that one, Jack. And if I start getting like off on a tangent somewhere else, bring me back on, because it's a really good question. Golf's in the Spike said, my son started back working for Mizuno, doing demo days for them, has worked for them for years. Hope I get more demo clubs easier now. You should do. Definitely. I know they make in the, there's certain demo ones going out there with the dynamic gold, is it the 115s and stuff like that. I think I've got X100s and stuff coming in mine or something or other. Yeah, doesn't matter. So that does Brutus of Troy's one. Dominic says, eagerly awaiting the new MPs, looking forward to 245 review. I'm really looking forward to that one. So yeah, Mizuno basically dropped the ball when it comes to me, and mine are not coming lie adjusted. And that pees me right off. It really does. I don't get peed off about many things, but when it comes to me delivering a golf club, every single one of the JPX reviews you've seen me do, the JPX 923 reviews, and of which you've seen a lie, which is not 3 or 4 degrees toe down, is with me funking delivery, with me deliberately deriving my ulnar radial deviation angle in a different way through delivery to try and get the lie angle better. You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to, I mean, just because I've got the capability of understanding how wrist angles like this affect dynamic lie through delivery point, I shouldn't have to do that in delivery. I should be able to just swing my normal. I'm fairly good at being able to swing at different speeds and deliver different strikes for all these. Over the years, I've developed this skill to be able to do that. However, when I'm trying to video, I don't mind saying this, when I'm trying to video and trying to give the best video possible, I don't want to have to think about the fact that I've got to change my swing for every single swing on the basis that I know that lie is not right, which frustrates the heck out of me. Bruce says, I agree. If you turn up 5-6 degrees out in dynamic lie, you can't fix it with a custom fit. If you fit your swing fault, if you fit for the swing fault, you need to have them readjusted as you go on. Well, yeah, so if you're, say, 5 or 6 degrees, the classic one is this. 5 or 6 degrees is actually pretty good. Worst I've ever seen, 20 degrees, toe down. Yeah, 20 degrees, I've seen 20 degrees. 9 is typical, 10, I've seen 10 degrees, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the typical number for people that are just not good on lie. It's because of the fact, generally speaking, you'll find that they come over the top. There's that classic, they're aiming okay, maybe even slightly to the right as a classic, I'm, yeah, trying to counteract it. And of course they come over the top and all this lot. And they deliver high handles, etc. I know full well that as I change someone's delivery to a more of a draw, although it's not a draw, I'm just trying to get them somewhere near straight, or at least not slicing the arse off it, that it will have, the way I do things, it will have, or way I've got two different ways of doing it. One of them has a byproduct of changing dynamic lie, and one doesn't. And so then if I've got an individual who has a over the top and also very high handle delivery, I can change them in a certain way, which changes their path, that also changes their dynamic lie. And so by doing such, yes, you can fit for that, even if you're 7 degrees out, because I know full well that as they start getting involved in doing what I want them to do, their dynamic lie is going to be much, much better. Now, 7 degrees, let's say, is a lot to come in and swing. Doable, but it's a lot. Because obviously they shouldn't be 7 degrees out already. They do that dynamically and they shouldn't do it. So they can come back again, but it's generally speaking such a big amount. I would normally find a golf club which, like pings are brilliant for this. But if you settle on a golf club which has some movement, I mean, okay, if you go cast, full on cast, it's very, very, very difficult unless you've got a ping. So I would always say go forged if you can, or go for a ping, or at least get it as close as you possibly can do. So as you get better, as your swing change improves, as you improve with the swing change, your golf clubs are getting better, helping you along the change, helping you on change as you get better. It's like constant affirmation of what you're doing. Your golf clubs get better at the same rate of what you do, rather than effectively trying with the wrong equipment, your old equipment, trying to, and it's just not, because they're too flat anyway. Kind of get the idea. Right, Cody says, do you think 105 to 110 miles an hour swing speed player like myself would have gapping issues with 91 Hot Metal Pros, or better off sticking with my older Z765? Thank you, sir. No problem, Cody. 105, 110 miles an hour, I'm assuming that's with driver, because if we're talking about 921, obviously Hot Metals Pros, they're irons. If you're swinging your 7-iron at 105, 110 miles an hour, wow. So I'm assuming, Cody, that that's with driver. If not, that would be like mental. When we go on that way, okay, so let's have a quick look. Right, make sure we got all the things going on in the background properly. There we go. Because sometimes it takes a little while to update. Possibly, obviously with a 921, they're not quite as cranked as the new ones. They're still 921 Hot Metal Pros, 29 degrees, I think it is for a, or 30 degrees, one of the two, for a 7-iron. So it's fairly this way. And if you're 105, 110 miles an hour, you're going to be about 90 or so miles an hour with a 7-iron. And you will have quite a strong flight. Would it be a big jump? Yes, you probably be running 15, 16 yards gaps, which is a fair bit. So we would be having the conversation within the fitting, that's for sure. Carl says, is it not easy for you to adjust the lie? No. So since obviously now not at the range, now not necessarily, I'm attached to a golf club, but not necessarily really involved with them too much for political reasons. Won't go into it, it's just golf. So I don't have access to a bending machine, and I do have access to a bending machine, but it's not very good from a point of view of it's not greatly accurate. And I am not, absolutely not, bending golf clubs like Mizuno Pros, unless I know I am having the desired effect of exactly the right amount of lie, and in no way compromising loft at all. But yeah, so I need to work on that idea, or I just work on my swing for the next 6 weeks to try and lower my handle by 2 degrees. Yeah. Brutus of Troy says, I bet you did a double take away those numbers. It would make sense to just fit for the length until the golfer starts delivering some sensible numbers, then adjust the lie. Honestly, if they've come in for a custom fit and they are 6, 7, 8 degrees, 9, 10 degrees out, they're not interested in getting lessons or anything else like that, and they just want something that fits, I'll say, it's just not doable. I'll get you as close as I possibly can do, so it'd have to be a ping for the amount that it needs to move. Having the conversation about everything, but at the end of the day, you just have to work with the individual. I'm a great fan for people working on their swingers, just rather than coming in and trying to buy a golf game. Buying golf equipment, especially when you've got specific requirements, is massively helpful. Absolutely it is. But there's no substitute for actually understanding that you need to swing within a certain range set of parameters, which is sensible. You can be a bit flat, you can be a bit upright, you can be, your stance can be a bit wide, it can be a bit narrow, you can do this, you can do that. There's so many different things that you have within a realm of sensibility. Look on PJ Tour, you've got a realm of sensibility there constantly. So there's no right or wrong. What there is making sure that you don't have to compensate for what you do because you're outside the realms. Cole says, would we be able to see Tacoma 201 versus T150 if I could get the hold of Titleist, the most difficult company to ever... Anyone who's watching has got any way of getting into Titleist, as in knows anyone at Titleist or something like that, because trying to get hold of the marketing team in Titleist, I've got more chance of getting my phone, trying to ring it and get blood out of it. I'll probably get blood out of my hands trying to ring my phone, but you know, as in not ring my phone, but ring, yeah, you can't get the idea. With the similar lofted 7 irons and the popularity of the T150s, it would blow everyone's mind if the 201 is actually comparable and forgiveness for half the price. Do you know what? I'll be honest. They will be. I don't mind saying it, they will be. The 301s are no real different to a set of Mizuno blades. Very little difference in feel. Mizuno blades will feel a fraction better just purely because of that copper underlay. But when I say that, we're talking margins, and there you go. The finish, obviously, on a Mizuno blade or Mizuno iron, generally speaking, is just top notch. No different to a TaylorMade, a Titleist, for example, what you said there, the T150. The big difference that you're going to find is this. Now, you're going to be able to go to, let's say Mizuno or Titleist. You can be able to go to a place, get properly, hopefully, properly custom fit for your set of premium golf clubs. So they're going to have, like Mizuno's a perfect example, there is a plethora of shafts out there to make sure that you get the absolutely perfect shaft that you require for your bend profile. Now, that shaft is now not going to mean that you are going to dump your handicap by 7 shots just because you've got a perfect bend profile, but effectively what you'll find is that you're going to be more consistent in delivery because the shaft is not bending in certain places of which then you don't need it. Now, of course, there is a classic thing: if I change my swing through lessons, do I then need to change my shafts? Not necessarily, because a lot of people, what you'll find is they don't change the way they load it, they just change the direction of where they load it. So a lot of the time when you're talking about all the changes in transition, we're not talking about how they offend the shaft from a point of view of how they bend the shaft. We're talking about the direction. So if you imagine come up from this point of view, going up to the back, top of the backswing, which you can't see, you know what I mean, yeah? And then you come down. For the people that go across this way and come down, it's this we're trying to get rid of. The fact that they're still coming down and pulling is no different if they don't and then pull. It's the direction of swing rather than the loading of the actual shaft, the direction of loading. And so, no, it won't make hardly any difference to the swing changes going forward. The most important thing is they get the right shaft for themselves. But you don't get that with a direct-to-consumer manufacturer. You need to know what you need, and it is a guess then. It is an utter guess, and you are hoping that with the head weights, because everything's slightly different, different manufacturers, there's always a slightly different with head weights, etc., and how they're going to react with swing weight and everything else. So it can work, absolutely. And if you know exactly what you want from a DTC, you know the specification of the shaft. They obviously, Tacoma do head only, so you can buy the shafts in and get them done at your local club fitter. But we are talking about then you've got to buy the shafts in, get them put on, the cost of that, then it starts going up, definitely. And so, and again, after that, you still don't know if you're going to work with them or not. That's the thing. Dominic says, unfortunately, you need to go back to work. Have a great day. Well, thank you very much for joining in, and make sure you don't get in trouble for just jumping in, and yeah, don't do that. Don't get in trouble. Use your drink. Right. So, golf ball rollback. Who cares about golf ball rollback? Have you ever teach someone who seems useless but then became great? Everyone is useless at the start. Niels, remember the why our draws longer question? Yes, thanks, Niels. So, right, okay. Thanks, Niels. Carl, I'll get back to that one. Everyone's useless before you. So who was it? It was Jack. Jack, are you still listening? Give me a yes or a no, or if it's a no, obviously, then Yeah, Brutus of Troy says, I'm surprised about Titus. Maybe they don't have enough confidence in their product. They used to chunk demos out to any YouTuber and his dog a few years ago. Maybe they're afraid we're doing a comparison. There are more so companies, if anything, I've worked out over the past year of time that they do not like the way I do things because I directly measure head forgiveness. It's not something that every other YouTube does, and I understand why. One, it takes a lot of time, but two, it does show what golf clubs are capable of doing and not after the marketing. Great, we still want the draw and fade. So, well, I want to make sure, and Jack, are you still listening? I do apologise to Jack if I got, and I do, that's the thing I get, yeah. Because I do want to explain to you, and if you want, Jack, you can obviously catch this in the replay, should you want, but, okay. Let's answer Jack's question. So Jack, as you can see, I've just scrolled up here, said, had a mate ask me this question, but I don't know how to answer. This is, so how is a draw meant to go further than the fade? Shouldn't left side spin just be the same as right side spin, or what else affects this? Okay, evening folks. I was, and I will be useless. You're funny. You do make me laugh. Right, okay, so for this one, I do think that I might need to physically move my backside. Should I move my backside? I'll move my backside. Here we go. Oh, dearie me. Oh. Right. I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Hopefully everyone still can. I better do press this button. If not, everything's going to go off, and that's going to be no good for anyone. Right, I'm back again. Right, I need a golf club. Golf club. Let's just, no, a 9-iron's no good. I've still got the 301s sitting down here, so I'll use the 301s. There you go. So what you see is, I haven't got this, I've got this set on manual focus, so obviously, yeah, rather than automatic. Oh, right, so what I'm going to do to show this, you can see this is a Tacoma 301 CB7, yeah, and I have my, I made this. So basically it's a rare earth metal magnet on the bottom, as you can see, possibly not, but yeah, you got the idea. And it's a plastic stick with a pointer thingy, rubber bit on the end so you don't poke your eye out. So what I'm going to do, I've got the TV over there, I've got the monitor over there, and I'm just going to do this, you see, from there, and I'm going to go like that. Sticks on there, like properly sticks on there as well. And I'm going to explain Jack's question. Evening, Jay, says Ian. Hello. Golf Sim Spikes. I've just finished a sim install in a Millsall building for a customer who had me something up, not able to catch you live. Okay, that's right, it's no worries, it's fine. Sorry, Jack, obviously it looks like you've disappeared, right? But I will answer your question anyway. Right, so hopefully you can see me on this one. The old classic is draws go further. Why do draws go further, they say, is because you see it day in, day out. And I've said about no different. When I'm doing what I'm doing, there's a video I did a week and a half ago, was it the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid, about how to draw and how to fade by just aiming that way, twisting like this and stuff like that. That is how I draw and fade, but I compromise lofting doing so. What I mean by that is you can see that's on the floor, right? And so what will happen is, I'll do it this way so you can see. That's straight at the camera, give or take, hopefully. Yes, it is. And you can see the pointer goes like this. As I move the point, as I twist the golf club around the axis of the shaft, what that does is basically it makes the pointer look left and right. It does. But it also makes the pointer not only look left and right, but it makes the pointer look up and down. So as I twist it to the left, as in close the face, make it look left, it also drops. Look at that angle now, it goes down. No different if I open the face by twisting the golf club through shaft axis twist, it makes the face have more loft. So it's not only do you get draws and you get like that, you add and take away loft. A kind of similar but backwards way of how loft sleeve adapters on woods, offset camber loft sleeve adapters, they twist the face as you change loft, but kind of get the idea. They do it an opposite way around because it's bent a different way and I won't bore you, but effectively that's what happens. So if you were going to deliver a draw in the classic normal way, of what they're saying how a draw goes further, is where you're delivering a path from the inside and you have closed your face down. That's the definition of a draw, that your face is effectively closed to a path, and you impart draw spin. Yep, job done. Now, the problem about doing that is when you do it through shaft axis twist to close the face down, you reduce the loft. So you now basically are hitting a golf ball with less loft, using a golf club with less loft, which means you are going to impart less spin on it as well, a more efficient strike because your face is closed, and so the golf ball is going to go faster off the face with less spin, blah, 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 blah. If you do the fade, no different. If you come across this way, but you have your face open through shaft axis twist, it allows the face to have more loft, which then launches the golf ball higher with more spin and more of a glancing blow. So then you don't get the same efficiency, blah, 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 as you do from your straight shot. Now, when it comes, there's two ways of doing it. That was the first way. The second way of being able to draw and fade is you do it on the basis of you do not compromise loft, which means you have a face which is straight. If you imagine my face which is straight there, I do it to the camera, my face which is straight there, and if I just hit the golf ball, no different if I just did this, yeah, and my face does not twist in any way. My face is still straight, and so I am obviously, by swinging this way or swinging this way, I am going to impart different spins, that tilt axis on the golf ball, through that path difference to face. But because I do it that way, I am not compromising loft. So they will both go exactly the same distance as long as I put the same amount of tilt axis on the golf ball. That is the two different ways. And so the vast majority of people, vast majority of people, they will do it the number one way. So the draw will go further because it's a lot easier and much more consistent to be able to, or definitely easier to be able to draw and fade the golf ball by use of shaft axis twist. You can do everything in setup. You don't have to do anything in dynamic. When we're talking about you doing this and this, that is absolutely in dynamic. What I mean by that is your swing. Much harder for you to be much more consistent doing a swing change constantly than there is a static change. If you do everything in static, you preset, like I want to draw, I'll aim out to the right hand side, preset my face not straight but slightly closed, and then I'll basically just then swing normally. I'll just swing as normal and let the golf club do the job for me. I don't have to think about any swing differences. I can physically just swing like I was going to hit a straight shot, as I always do, within reason. You do it the other way, your swing has to, you've got to keep obviously the face and you've got to change it, but you cannot change that face angle. It cannot change. If not, you're in a world of hurt, because as soon as you start doing this and then you change face angle to say you let it release, that thing is starting left, disappearing left, and it's much more difficult. It's doable, as you can see there. You can demonstrate it, but as a general rule, really hard. So I wouldn't suggest to do that. Put this back. Very magnetic, that rarer. So I hope that helps when it comes to that explanation. Let's go back to my chair. Back to my chair. Back to my chair. Right, let's catch up with everybody. Let's go move that so we can actually see. There we go, much better with everything now. So, Alice says we can hear you, which is good, so thank you. Golf Sim Spike, so I just finished my sim sort and I've read that already. Had me tied up, not able to catch you live. No, it's fine, absolutely no worries whatsoever. Ted, howdy folks. Howdy folks, Jay. Hello Ted, hope you're doing, buddy. Are you well, buddy? You right? There's been what, 7 days since we last spoke, I suppose. Brutus of Troy says sorry, I can't get my worms out today. What are your go-to brands for known stability, reduced gearing, but in players' irons? That's a really interesting question, because gear effect with an iron, the bigger the golf club, the more the gear effect will have an effect. So as a general rule, a blade will have less gear effect than a fat golf club, contrary to the belief that a fat golf club is more forgiving. Yes, you will get a certain amount of twist though. The only thing is obviously that the bigger the golf club, the more stable the head is necessarily. When I mean stable, I don't mean through gear effect, I mean through twist. So if you hit the heel or hit the toe, you don't get that massive poof or like that when you hit off center. yeah, the gear effect will. So if I hit a shot with a blade from a toe shot and a same lofted game improvement iron for the same amount of millimeters on the toe, etc., the game improvement iron would actually gear more. What are my go-to manufacturers though? They all do it. So stability is a different thing to forgiveness, unfortunately. I think obviously gearing in that way. I mean, we talk more about gearing when it's for woods because they have roll and bulge on the face. They're designing with gearing in mind, where an iron with a flat face is not designed in any way, shape or form to take into account large amounts of gear effect. There will be a certain amount of gear effect that they know that they will have to consider when they're making the design of a new golf club. Heel bias, generally speaking, heel bias gear effect, they dump it off. They don't really care. It's going to happen. But it's the toe bias gear effect which they're most concerned about. But they are very, very alike. You'll find that different manufacturers will make things differently. So one golf club will be much more heel toe stable, one will be much more low stable. And so all depending on where you strike it and where your miss is, then effectively then you can understand what you need. This is the thing though, obviously that's why I feel that the reviews that I do and how I do certain things is important, because no other reviewer that I know really talks about how a certain head is stable from a certain point. So when people do mishit their golf clubs as a pattern and they say they're a toer, they're a low on the face, or they thin it slightly as a miss or whatever it would be, there are golf clubs out there which are distinctly more helpful than others out of those specific locations. Yeah, there you go. So GolfNut, I built the building and installed simulator for 30K. With turnkey build, big video in progress for new channel. Wow, 30 grand, that's in dollars as well. So equivalent of 22? No, 24, so 1.2, about 24-ish. 24K, that's good, yeah. So you built the building, I'm assuming that's wooden build, definitely wooden build. Insulated wooden build, installed simulator for 30 with, yeah, good, really good. Ian says, if the golf ball is rolled back and say spins more, will you need to be re-custom fit to optimize? Very good question. We'll get onto that one. Did Golf Base come back to you? Yeah, I rung them up. Rung them up and had a conversation with them because they, not being funny, they're useless. Don't mean to be nasty, but I'm not being nasty. I'm just being truthful. Golf Base has the potential to be an amazing company, really do, but they're just so busy, they seem to not be able to cope very well because they're just so busy, which is great for a company. Being busy is brilliant. Being busy enables you to grow, but you need a certain understanding that there will be a trade-off in certain things, absolutely, but you cannot make a peak go so far in business. You can't make a peak in business go so far that it affects the core part of your customer service. So I am very happy the fact that they're busy and they're going through this, but they knew that they were going to be busy, and so to reach out to me to do what they want me to do, and then get to a point of where they realise that they're so busy at the moment that they can't ever even have the time. Even the marketing guy that I was dealing with is in sales because they can't cope. You think, but you knew this was going to happen. Why on earth are you guys not saying, okay, let's get all the Black Friday, the Cyber Monday, the Christmas stuff done, and then when in January, when it calms down a little bit, even though you have the PGA show and stuff like that, let's do something then. I mean, I'll be honest, I'll turn around and say, look, January and February are my busiest times with releases from everybody, etc., with the normal release that you normally do for embargo date and all the compares that you do as well after that. It's busy. So I would have probably said, look, I won't be able to do anything until February, March at the earliest. But it was just frustrating that the fact that they said, this, okay, no worries. I'm trying to plan what I'm doing going forward when the scheduling of works for videos, etc. Yeah. There you go, that's, I'm honest, that's what it was. So Ian's great question. So about the golf ball rollback, say spins more, etc. Will you need to be re-custom fit to optimize? Yes, within reason, possibly. Or So this is my only gripe. So this is not obviously, let's get this right. So these are the proposed, I don't think as yet, and I'll stand to be corrected that this is actually absolutely happening. This, what has been released from Golf Monthly, I think they did an article on it, is what is expected to be announced that is going to go forward. From 2028 it's the pros game, and 2030 I think it is for us. We'll say us, I'm talking about amateur golfers, for people that it's going to be for tour players and elite amateurs, so the guys that are up in the top echelon of their own sport, and then everyone else basically is going to have everything in 2030. My issue with that, well, I've got many issues with that. I think it's daft, utterly daft what they're just doing. There are multiple ways, if they really feel that reducing length is the way forward, that can be easily done. They don't have to change the golf ball. You can limit CC size of heads, okay? You can limit for a pro the loft of a driver, although there is the backwards way of saying the fact that, okay, if you're going to limit the loft of driver, all you'll end up doing is delivering in a way where you can counteract that. Absolutely true. No different to the golf ball thing. If you produce a golf ball which launches lower and spins more to try and take the distance off, which they can quite easily do, keep the ball speed near enough identical, but you drop the launch angle and higher the spin, you're automatically going to get a golf ball which has a well, it's like a driving range ball. That's what a driving range ball, that's how it's limited flight. It's not because of the fact that there's a massive speed difference off the face. Not at all. I mean, if anything, I mean, they are near enough just as good as a normal ball. So it's just the fact that a range ball obviously gets hit a billion times, where normal golf balls, they don't. So they have to be a bit more durable on the innards, which does then mean that they're not quite as fast. But they'll be able to make a golf ball, normal premium golf ball, that has the launch and spin capabilities or at least properties of a range ball. And so it will reduce flight by a lot, 15% or so, 10-15%. They can easily do that. Now there is a problem with that, is that no different to the Bellata golf balls. If you remember back in the day, a Bellata golf ball, if you hit a modern day golf ball and a Bellata golf ball, Perry says the only bonus is I learned a new word in bifurcation. Yep, that's a word. You're right. So the only problem is, so I used to do this for fun. We used to have a number of really rubbish Bellata golf balls. Actually, when you do the test with them, the ball speed that you get off the driver actually isn't that bad. It's not that bad whatsoever. It is a minor difference to a Pro V1. And what I mean by minor, I'm talking, if you're looking at a ball speed of 160 miles an hour, these are in the upper 150s. So 3 mile an hour difference, very, very small. So the real difference between a Bellata golf ball and a Pro V1 is not ball speed. People think there's this massive 2%, I would say, give or take, is the difference between a Bellata, old school Bellata, and a Pro V1. However, the difference where a Pro V1 just stretches its legs way over the fact that of these old Bellata balls is their launch conditions. They naturally launch higher with less spin. There you go. And there straight away gains you 40 yards. All that spin, launching low and spinning up, does nothing for distance. You get that same thing and you launch that golf ball high with less spin, you're gaining like ridiculous. Now, how are you doing with the light? How are you doing with the light injury stroke overload? Yes, so not too bad actually. My rhomboid is mostly better. I can still feel it just then when I'm doing certain actions, so just don't do them. But I managed to get obviously the Tacoma 301 videos done with all the hitting and stuff like that. It did niggle, yes it did, but I'm just trying to make sure that I don't hit too many because I know I've got a few balls to hit in the next, well, upcoming weeks. I've got Cobra stuff, Wilson stuff, Mizuno stuff, Ping stuff, Callaway stuff, hopefully. I've got loads of stuff to do. Obviously got sub 70 are delivering some more golf clubs soon as well. Just busy, busy, busy. So I've got to make sure my body can keep up with it. But what I used to do with the, back to the Bellata, what I used to do for fun is I used to go get my driver, and what I had to do was increase, Perry says, wouldn't the first measure be to make the tour players use the same equipment available to the rest of us? Within reason, I'll be honest, there are some differences, of course there's some very small differences, but in reality the actual equipment is not hugely different, they're not. And also there is a lot of pros that play exactly the same equipment, so it's not like there is a huge, all their equipment they have to play within the rules of golf, so it's no real different at all. It's just, it might be like a beta version of something of this, but it's effectively giving no real big difference, I'll be honest. It's not that. The real reason that pros hit the golf ball so fast or so hard is the fact that they just swing ridiculously quick. And with that athleticism, with that speed, with that power and that modicum of control, you're going to hit the golf ball far. You then knock that whole idea, and this is Rory, no different. I mean, Rory got a little bit of heat on Twitter a few days ago, excuse me, YouTube Winnie Pops, for talking about this and getting involved in it when he probably shouldn't have done, really. I saw a Golf Magazine robot tested balls to see how many yards offline they went. What do you think of the test? I think it came down to centre of gravity, accuracy and manufacturing. Absolutely will do. Yeah. I mean, if you do a robot, you can control most things when it comes to its swing, delivery and its strike. And so therefore, apart from atmospherics, which you can't really do at all, it's very difficult to do, has to be read by a radar-based launch monitor, because quad will not pick up deficiency in centre of gravity of the golf ball. That's the only thing. So where radar will. It won't pick up the fact that that centre of gravity is wrong. What they'll do is they'll pick up the effect of it being wrong. But yeah. Centre of gravity of the ball is massively important. So quality control, basically. A lot of people can do that anyway. I think when it comes to putting salt, the old classic one was putting like a golf ball in heavily salt water solution, and so it floats, and then you just basically, if you put it in, it starts to rotate and it will find its point, and you put the dot on top to say that that's the center of mass of that golf ball. So again, that is wibble wobble kind of thing. You kind of get the idea. Or you get those machines that spin it round about 1 billion times, and then it spins it round to a point of where it's happy, and then you put a little felt tip pen and it basically just draws a concentric equator line around the balance point of the ball. Yeah. So yeah, what I used to do was change my driver and change my delivery, and to a point of where I was getting the Bellata not far off what the Pro V1 was doing. So you've got the ball speed, but you've got the poor launch angle and high spin in a Bellata golf ball. If you now go get the your driver, your adjustable driver hopefully, not something like a G2, which is definitely not, but if you go get your adjustable driver, whack it up as much loft as you can do. So instantly got more loft, got more launch, yeah? But obviously launch will create more spin as a general rule. So what you then have to do is you have to then funk delivery. You have to then hit the golf ball on the way up, but then lead your handle forward so you hit up without delivering more loft, while swinging at 110 miles an hour. And so by doing that, you then artificially impact the spin loft, from a drawn and a TrackMan term. And so you can then get that Bellata golf ball coming off of the face at 150, 160 miles an hour, whatever it be, same as a Pro V1 or very, very similar, launching the same and now spinning the same, because if you do have to do it through delivery. And so therefore, the difference between a Bellata, old school Bellata, and a Pro V1 then becomes that. And that's only the ball speed difference. And it's minor, like 2%, 3% if you get a bad one. But you know what I mean? It's so minor, the difference between the distance becomes that rather than that, if you can then funk your delivery. These guys on tour, you do something like that, bring it in line with a Bellata, it won't be long before they change their delivery dynamics. It will take them a while and stuff like that. No different to Bryson, took time to bulk up and swing faster, and Rory's kind of got involved in it as well a little while ago, which then got his speed up and stuff like that. He's dialed it back down again, but he's still got that same hit up mentality, etc. He still bombs it out there. But they'll be able to do it. And so you then take away that. So the only way they'll be able to do it is if physically with the golf ball is draw down the ball speed. The problem is, I mean, obviously, you affect everyone. I honestly don't think it's a good idea taking distance off amateurs. Again, I've got loads of stats in my head of which I could tell you about the importance of certain things when it comes to amateurs. Yeah. Right. Golfston Spike says metal building. Oh, metal building. Okay, yeah. Insulated, sheet rocked. Is that kind of like sheet material? Something like that, I don't know. Turf wall to wall, hitting mat 9x15 screen, projector. What projector you get? Was it 1080p? Was it 4K? 9x15. 9x15. That's 16:10 ratio. Is that? As such, or 15:9, but I mean, but so that kind of thing. Mini split heat pump. Yeah, 18 long, 16 wide. 16 wide. That's decent width. And Garmin base for now. Maybe update monitor when he can afford. Good. Yeah. Wouldn't complain about that whatsoever at all. So Perry says the ball change is obviously an all-encompassing measure as opposed to additional hazards for the big hitters. I mean, they can all you'd have to do is reduce the driver CC for a pro. Straight away, they would come down a bit, or at least they have to become uber more precise. And so if they're uber more precise, one would argue they deserve it. Where at the moment, drivers are very forgiving, especially vertically on the face, very, very forgiving vertically on the face. And so they can hit, especially slightly high in the face, and actually hit it longer for a miss hit because of just gear effect dynamics. Brutus says, why don't courses just narrow the fairways as it gets closer to the green rather than roll the ball back? Because unfortunately, any kind of changes that they make to the golf course will affect amateurs as well. What they really need to do is, I would say, I would possibly do, if they didn't want to mess around with it too much, I would say that to test going forward to see if a pro could only use a 14-degree driver. Keep it 460 if you want, but it can't be any less than 14 degrees. Or if they wanted to mess with the driver, make it 300cc. But the problem is then you have got a bifurcation between manufacturers now making smaller drivers for tour, and so the whole idea is they already make high lofted drivers. It was just a case of they have to have that, which is normally meant for senior golfers who don't hit it very hard, because obviously the launch, extra launch that thing's going to give. It would then have to, the pros would have to change their delivery dynamics so ridiculously much that it would just potentially, yeah, it would take them too long, rather than just hitting that driver to the moon, which they'll pump the golf ball out there, but they're gonna lose distance. Right, what we got here was my first job. Carl said, is spin loft the difference between delivered loft and launch? No, so spin loft is the difference between your delivered dynamic delivery and your angle attack. I can go into more detail if you want. Ted says, not only smaller heads for driver woods, but also make them play blades only, no utility irons or CBs. Yeah, I mean, that would do it. And then I would obviously then keep, as in apart from the smaller heads, bifurcation of the irons would come out of it, so you'd have everyone play blades. But again, there are people at the moment play blades, so they wouldn't be affected at all. So really, you could do it this way. You could possibly say that, okay, everyone now has to play traditionally lofted irons. When I say traditionally lofted, what is currently traditionally, say, 34 degrees for 7-iron. That would then obviously stop people playing, but again, yeah. The main thing is the driver. It's not how far they hit their 7-iron or something like that, because Jack Nicklaus used to hit like ridiculously long, and he had traditionally lofted, more traditionally lofted than what we've got now, or what perceive as traditionally lofted now. It says also they should stop hyper manicuring the courses, especially in woodland areas. Also, you've mentioned keep spectators away from woods and penalty areas. Absolutely. The real reason from a golf approach, everything, is they never lose a golf ball. They never have a penalty shot because of a lost golf ball. They very, very rarely have a penalty shot on the basis that it's unplayable. Why? Because the places that these guys are playing they are manicured, absolutely. And then because of the spectators, they traipse on the areas of which you guys When you play golf and you hit it into crappy areas, you haven't got the benefit of 5,000 people who have just been on there through that day, walking through it, trampling it all down. You haven't got the benefit of those 5,000 players all looking at that golf ball as it goes into that trash and going, oh, I found it. You don't. You're looking around there, can't find it. That's a missed penalty shot straight away. And so they don't get that. So I would say spectators gone. They can't, I mean, you know what I mean? But it's that unfair advantage that tour pros have that others don't. Golf sports, I'll keep my balls, no ball police in the sim. It's true. Ted says, haha, the pros should play the Kirkland V2s. Yeah, they spin a load. Or the old Mizuno golf ball. Brilliant for a senior golfer or a slow swing speed golfer. Those Mizuno golf balls are brilliant. Why? Because generally speaking, the slower you swing, the less spin you have. And so if you don't spin the golf ball enough because you swing slowly, actually getting a high spin profile golf ball works wonders for how you can perform playing golf. And so something like the Kirkland V2, or if you can still get, I've still got a few of them, the old Mizuno golf ball as a senior. Neil says, I kind of agree something should be controlled. Then you could argue they should have started Usain Bolt 10 metres back on the 100 metres to protect the sprint records. I had him running bare feet. Yes, I think if you're coming from a point of that you need to change something, if you're coming from the direction of you feel absolutely that it needs to be changed, then you've got to change something. If you're going to look at it and say, just play the golf course. If you can do that, good luck to you. Everyone comes in different shapes and sizes. Some people have got an amazing short game, other people haven't. Some people can putt like you would not believe, other people can't. Some people can whack the driver immense distances, other people can't. Golf is played by human beings and we all have our unique qualities. One could argue absolutely that it's out there for everybody to grab, and if you can bomb the golf ball 50 yards past me on a driver, then great, but I can putt better than you. Or just go down the gym. Yeah, if you're a professional golfer and you understand that that is a weakness as a part of your game and it's something which you can control, then control it. What they're really saying is the fact that they don't like, from a TV point of view, they don't like the bomb and gouge approach. They don't like the whole idea that someone is going in with a massive drive and then just wedging it all the time. There is no fun in watching that. What's the viewership numbers? Over the decades, I'd let the viewers decide. And if there is a huge exodus of everyone disappearing watching golf because of the bomb and gouge over the last 15 years, then, but there isn't. So yeah, there you go. Make the fairway real tight at 290, 330 or so. Could do, but then you're talking about every single golf course has to change their golf course design on every single fairway at a cost of what, I don't know. It can get quite expensive to do that. But yes, you're right, but every single golf course would have to do it. Perry says, didn't Rory loft up to 11 degrees at one stage? Yeah, but didn't he have like the SLDR or something daft at one point? A hyper low spin ball, so hyper low spin clubs will need high lofted heads anyway. Perry mentioned remove ball spotters for tour players, but then also you've got to blindfold every spectator. Carl says, couldn't they just make drivers no longer than 43 inches? No, well, it's swing speed dependent, yes, and you'll find anyway that they're not all playing 46-inch drivers. Some are playing shorter. Would it help? Yes, it would do, but you're looking at around about, that would get rid of some head speed, but it would also, if they didn't change the swing weight properties, it would make it swing weight lighter, which means they could also then swing it slightly faster as well. So it might then counteract, but you're right, it would take a little bit of head speed off by doing that. Goldsmith White says, Mizuno S is my go-to. Oh, MPS, the old MPS. Wow, yeah, I can remember those. Good ball. Bruce of Troy says, outlaw ball spotters, then we can all then we can all time the players as they search for their, oh, absolutely. Yeah, Yeah. Chuck says, will the new ball still be 1.50 smash? Definitely not on a quad. Nothing's 1.50 on a quad. That's TrackMan number. That is a radar-based efficiency. And so the answer on that one will be an interesting way, depending if they tackle the issue via ball speed or launch dynamics. YouTube drink. Ted says, perhaps the best way to control distance is to control how well the shoe grips the ground. Smooth soles for the professionals. That's a really great. So I would have, 10 years ago, I'd have absolutely agreed with you, Ted. Absolutely. And now, 10 years ago, yeah, 10 years ago, probably, maybe 15, but definitely 15 years ago, I had to play in my spikes, as in proper spikes. I'm not talking about what we have nowadays. Nowadays, I can hit shots. Honestly, I can hit shots in, I wouldn't say bare feet, but definitely treadless shoes, as in really worn shoes with no treads on the bottom whatsoever, with no grip whatsoever. I can play and swing as fast with no grip whatsoever on my shoes. I used to spin out a lot. My feet used to like dance around like you wouldn't believe. And so I got very much more in tune with how my feet use the ground and how I twist and push and load and bounce out and all those things. I got much more in tune with my own feet. And so now I don't have the huge spinning out issue. I don't dance and pirouette and have to have stability through spikes. I have stability just because I've learned over the years to dial down certain torsion in my legs through to my feet, and then put myself in a situation where I need heavy grippy spikes to keep it on the ground. I used to churn the floor up. Golf Sim Spike says that bomb and gouge doesn't match our game. No, grease the soles. Yes, grease them up. Get some marge on there and margarine. Don't know if you have margarine in over the pond, but yeah, get some butter or GT85 silicone spray, anything like that, or just play in wintertime when everything's an ice rink. My game anyway. Yeah, bomb and gouge, that doesn't match our game. Yeah. But yeah, it's a very interesting quandary when it comes to golf roll back. Golf ball roll back. There are so many things they could do, so many different ideas. I don't think in any way, I'll put it out there now, this is only my opinion, but I don't think in any way controlling the golf ball is actually a good idea. Jerry Smiley, hello everyone. Hello Jerry. I don't think it's a good idea. I honestly don't think rolling the ball is the right way. Bifurcation of a golf ball, no. The fact that they're splitting it between 20, 28 and 30 at the moment, that's up for a little bit of conjecture, because I honestly think this. If this says we're 2024 basically now, so we've got 4 years before it goes live with the PGA Tour. So yeah, 2024, 5, 6, 7, yeah, you know what I mean. So we have got a certain amount of time. I honestly feel this, and I'm gonna put it out there now, that this is not gonna happen. This will not happen. I think there's gonna be so much uproar, there's gonna be so much kicking off. Golf in general there'll be a revolution if this goes on, because golf after COVID, there was a massive boom in golf worldwide, really, but there was a definite massive boom in golf in the UK. It's now tailed off completely. Everyone's gone back to work. Everyone's got back to normal. COVID now effectively is a thing of the past, and we've going back to everyday life. That also means that there is now not a waiting list to get into a golf club, the membership of a golf club anymore. So the golf clubs where they were rolling in money, and they were sort of like, you know, sort of like getting on the mattress, and they just sort of like lay on there with like $100 bills all around their heads and stuff. That's gone. And they are now looking at ways to try and control how much they spend, etc., etc. I'm just worried that they will damage golf irreparably by doing something daft to make people effectively enjoy it less. It's just daft. Pete says, grow the rough and narrow OB to spectator ropes. Now that would be an idea. Don't do anything with the rough, that's fine. I would say don't narrow down, because then you obviously affect the members of the golf course that play there anyway. But I would say this, that's a really good point. Pete, yeah, Pete, you've got a very good point there. If they were to set OB markers to the spectator lines, so if that golf ball goes past that marker, that rope, out of bounds. That would change things. That's a really good idea. Golf swimmers, like I say, golf balls, ball companies will squash this. I think they, depending on what they're going to be asked to do, whether it's through ball speed or ball dynamics, I think you have a very strong point. Ted says this rule change with the current atmosphere in pro golf is a disaster for the game. Absolutely agree. I cannot agree with you more on that one, Ted. That's an absolutely spot-on assessment. Ian says, did the Ryder Cup in Paris not show that if you grow the rope up, then pros still struggle with control, even with the wedge? It does, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're talking, it's a different style of golf course. But the problem you do, if you're going to do that kind of idea, I know from my local golf course in Thetford, and obviously there's other courses. I mean, Thetford is a bit different to all the other golf courses in their area, but it's a good example. It's not good for the amateurs. It's not good for the members when you do something to the golf course which makes it really difficult. And I get this. And so being involved to a certain extent at Thetford, not a lot. I mean, I play there, but then I get a chance to play there twice this year. If you do something which is going to affect the members in a bad way, then it's not good for the club and it's not good for golf, because golf is so much bigger than just the tour guys. I mean, it's obviously the money and stuff like that, but there's a lot of money that needs to be injected into like the grassroots thing. I can't stand that term, but effectively that. And if you start messing around with the courses that they go to or courses in general, and because where does the bifurcation change? If you then don't do it to some golf courses, but then do it to others, at what then level do you say, because of what tour then comes under the purview of the new rule of tight fairways and stuff like this? And so I'm not a great fan of changing the golf courses as in rough, thick. You could argue that a US Open, yes, because it's a unique event. No difference, the Masters is a unique event, the Open is a unique event, and the PGA Championship is, yeah. So what we got? Chuck says Pro V1 left dash is about 20 yards further off a tee than the TP5. Does that mean some balls are already conformed to the new rule? No, the TP5 just isn't. The ball, it lacks a fraction of ball speed, the TP5 over the Pro V1 left dash, and the launch dynamics on a Pro V1 left dash is different to a TP5. That is not saying that the TP5 is worse than a left dash by 20 yards, as in the case of not saying it's a worse ball than the left dash. The left dash is meant for a certain individual, and the TP5 will be meant for a slightly different individual. Excuse me. Golf ball fitting is the thing. Absolutely it is. It's done absolutely the wrong way. It should be done from the green backwards, and then obviously if you've got two golf balls at the end of it, which you're not quite sure you've got to the tee now, from putting, chipping, pitching, all the approach play and all the bits and pieces with that, and you're finally at the tee and you've got two golf balls, well, go for the one with the higher compression, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, definitely. But, right. So Perry said, let's hope USGA, etc. We're listening to Pete's suggestion. It's a great one, Pete. Well done. Ted says, at home, everyone's got thumbs up now for Pete's suggestion. Is it Mrs. Atta or Mr. Satter? No traction on shoes may cause injuries, spinning out in bad conditions, heels, etc. Possibly, yeah. There is obviously the human factor to take into account as well. Golf Sim Spike, they can grow the course rough out for tournaments, keep tight the rest of the year. Only tournament courses will be involved. Possibly, yes. It could be. I mean, that is an option. I mean, you could argue that already they do have a certain level of bifurcation anyway. Would that be ultra bifurcation for the course point of view? I don't know, but the whole idea, which is actually quite nice, is that amateurs can play the same golf courses, golf equipment than the pros. If you did what Pete said, instantly, you've got 39 yards of fairway, 20 yards left and right, whatever. And then you've got 12 yards of rough. After that 12 yards of rough, gone. You want to bomb at 330? Absolutely. You want to whack it down the middle? Good shot. Well done. That's a skill. However, you catch one wrong, that's not asking the 5,000 spectators to find it, traipse it down for you and have a really good lie in the rough with a great line at the green. That is instantly lost ball, play 3 off a tee. Pete, good. They can say, Neil says, Pete, that would skew the game towards the straight hitters. Some crooked off the tee with brilliant short game putting would be a disadvantage. It's true, but it would then effectively bring everything back into the classic old school way of playing. You plot your way around the golf course. Now, I'm not saying that's the right way. I mean, we're saying that this new bomb and gouge idea is the wrong way. I mean, time will tell on that one, and I guess people have always bombed it relative to everybody else, but that's an interesting one. Neil saying sorry at Perry, I'm guessing that one. Carl says make them carry their own clubs to tire them out. Blooming right. I'm still a, what was I? Oh, hang on. I don't want to, was I? No, that's right. It's not going to be anything that I was going to use in the future. I'm just thinking for the giveaway. People still use their, still carry their golf clubs because they believe it burns more calories. Some wacko person, whatever it is, did a massive study on people that did and didn't, and they actually found that people who carry their golf clubs around actually, within a very small amount, don't actually burn anymore. So, what's the point? Go get a buggy. Cole said, golf ball rollback on pro level likely won't make much difference. Manufacturers have 4 years to develop a drive around the new ball that will make up for the loss. That all depends if it's ball speed or ball dynamic dependent. If it's ball dynamic dependent, yes. If it's ball speed dependent, no, because obviously there's no way to make up for that ball speed loss, because drivers are governed and have been governed for quite some time. But yeah. Carl said, is it as simple as the harder the ball, the further it goes? In compression terms, yes. Basically. There are lots of many other factors on how much the golf ball launches and spins relative to that. But effectively, you're always going to find that a softer golf ball will have a tendency to want to spin a fraction more, and then a harder golf ball will have a tendency to want to spin a fraction less. The harder golf ball has a tendency to have a very slight advantage over ball speed over the softer golf ball. So it's a kind of tiny win makes a win, and a tiny loss makes a loss. But again, we are talking about, what I am always talking about, putting, chipping, pitching, approach play, then we get there. I don't involve a golf ball choice driver wise until we've done all of that first. If you then got 5 to choose from, or you've got 5 out of the myriad of different balls, the cornucopia of balls that you've tested, and you've come down from 50, whatever, to 5, then yeah, then there's the criteria for you for choosing from the driver's perspective. But yeah. Richard, hi Jay, good to hear what you and the group have to say as always. Always good to have you on, Richard. Bruce of Troy, I like the spectator rope OB suggestion. I really like that suggestion. I really like that suggestion. Perry Mason, hang on. Can I, try to think. Don't think I can do. I've got to find it first. That's what I do sometimes. Can't find it. Yeah. I want some way of highlighting it or something. Perry says, my assassin is about to walk through the door, so I'm off to beat a retreat. Yeah, good show as ever. Nice to have you, Perry, as always. Thank you very much, bud. Richard says, on pro level golf, Scott Fawcett, decade system, says pros are unicorns, so let them romp. No need to, yeah, with equipment golf, yeah. Well, it's true. They are unicorns. They do have a unique ability to do certain things that we don't. Again, that's relative to other people, because obviously you've got some people that can do this, that can't do that. Some people can do this to do that. I mean, it's always, that's human nature. However, you are right, it's Mr. Satter. There you go. So I'm not going to call you Mrs. Atter, Mr. Satter. Should have capital S. But hello. So the hard ball at my swing speed doesn't work. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the differences are. That would be actually interesting to see what the differences are in that one. Ian says, I was talking about for pro tournaments. My club has grown and thickened the rough, and it's so difficult to get the ball out with anything lower lofted than 8 iron. Yes, but I mean, I've got issues with that. For an amateur point of view, golf initially, right? So golf courses are a business. They're not there because they're just great recreational facilities for public to use. They are there as a business, and so they need to make money. Part of that money is the fact that they are very, very lucky, and no different to every golf pro or anything else, or anyone involved within golf. Everyone in golf is really lucky that they are they're enabled to make their living from other people's enjoyment. Anyone who can make their living from other people's enjoyment are just blessed. That's my personal belief. And so golf courses as a business, they're in a business of making money on the basis that people enjoy themselves. And if people don't enjoy themselves because they're hacking the crap out of golf balls with 8 irons and wedges, and like 2 cubic feet of Ohio comes out and no golf ball comes out, that's no fun. And they will vote with their feet, unfortunately, especially when you're talking about not the seasoned golfer, not the seasoned amateur of an 8 handicap or something like that. We're talking about the guys that start. They want to hit good shots. I have lost count how many times when I was at the range, coaching and custom fitting full time, that you'd go down to see the people on the bays, just have a little look what people are up to. And I've lost count of how many times I saw this, was the guys, the lads, wanted to come down and smack some golf balls and grab a golf club and smack it and have fun like that. And then what happens is they get their girlfriend who's sitting behind them on their phone, not even watching their boyfriends hit shots, because they just find it boring and they want to be on WhatsApp and chat to their girly friends and stuff. And so their boyfriend grabs them and say, look, come and have a go. Oh, I don't want to have a go. No, come on, have a go, and all this and everything. And so she gets up there in her heels and short this and tight that, and you think, oh my word, I mean, that's definitely not golf attire, but it's a driving range. And so they've got massive heels on and stuff like that, and they're just grabbing it whichever they grab, it doesn't matter. And of course they miss and stuff like that, but then they hit this one perfect shot and they swing and this ball just goes ping off the face. And you want to see their face. That face it encapsulates every single thing about golf, which every golfer understands. That instant contact with that golf ball, which is just out of the screws and it's just going sailing in the air towards target, it is a wonderful feeling. And so in that instance, the girlfriend understands why her boyfriend comes down and does this often. And so that is what golf clubs really need to nurture. They need to grab that and need to make that more frequent. Definitely not make a situation where people are going to go start play golf or try and play golf and get frustrated to flip for. That's not helpful. That won't be helpful. Have I missed? So how much difference have I forgot? Yeah. So how much difference would a fit golf ball make to your short game? A huge amount if it's a feel-based thing. Absolutely. First thing you want to do is go with a putter. Make sure that whatever compression golf ball, hate that term, that has a massive difference on how you perceive speed. And so you can, if you've got a speed issue with how you putt, you can change golf ball, swing exactly the same, and get completely different difference of distance. by you feeling you're doing exactly the same thing because you play with different golf balls which have the propensity to do things differently. So fit green first, then get on the chipping green. So you've grabbed now 20 golf balls, different manufacturers, different models, different this, what, it can be even more, doesn't matter. And then you narrow that down to 10. So then go to the chip in and to the approach play and do the exact same thing. The feel that you want, that you can get the right feel off the face, you want to actually prefer the feel off, and which gives you on average the best results. As an amateur golfer, it's going to be varied anyway, but you know what I mean. You then narrow it down to 5. So you go to the approach, you whack loads of shots, see which gives you the best numbers within reason and the one that gives the best feel. Okay, when you're talking about 7 irons and 6 irons, you're losing feel anyway through deflection, but effectively, yeah, and through speed of the ball, but it's still there. Then you take it with driver. But that's it. What have I missed? Rob says, are they not talking about limiting the ball to today's standards, so stopping manufacturers from increasing ball speed beyond today's limits would mean little change for us mortals? The ball speed actually from a golf ball hasn't really changed. What they're actually talking about doing, they're changing the measure between, at the moment, the golf ball can only go 317 yards. Yeah, only. On a 120 mile an hour swing, hit by a robot, blah, 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 blah. Yep. They're now thinking about that golf ball cannot go any more than 317 yards, but the metric has now changed. The parameter is now changed from 120 miles an hour to 125 miles an hour. So they need to make that golf ball reduce in distance by the same mechanical swing, but 5 miles an hour faster, by one of only 2 measurements of where they could do it. One, they limit the ball speed, so they physically make the ball massively softer, or they at least change the internals so it doesn't spring as much. That's easy, that's fairly easy to be done. And it would have an effect straight away. You limit the ball speed, doesn't matter what you do with delivery dynamics and ball dynamics, it would affect distance straight away. Or you do it the other way, which I think manufacturers will possibly do. They will not change the ball speed capability. They'll still want to make the ball speed as fast as you possibly can do, but they'll make the golf ball launch lower, spin more, like a range ball. And so therefore it will then climb, it'll go spin up and climb like that and drop 317 yards. Then all the individuals need to do from a golf manufacturing perspective is then focus on the technology, and then also focus when it comes to swing changes for a driver, would have to be focused on more upward hit and higher dynamic loft delivery. But then you would then gain that distance back. There you go. So, where are we? Oh, I've got to be careful. I know, the problem is I'm trying, there's too many things and I can't answer them as fast as what people can think, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to get through. Britta says, the reason you watch professional sport is to see people doing things that require unusual amounts of skill. I think rollback, smaller head, blade would only then create compartmentalized game, possibly. Yes, it would. I'm not a great fan of it, I agree. Jerry says, if harder golf balls go further, why does everyone recommend soft golf balls for slow swing speed players? What do you think? Why do you think, Jerry? I'll let you answer that question yourself on that. Richard says, your club should be operating for the benefit of the members. Absolutely. Whether members are best served by the revenue from tournaments or more enjoyment of the game with short, rough is up to you members, up to your member. Yes, true, inevitably, you're absolutely right. Richard says, your club, I would say, I don't know what end. Brutus says, finding a solution that rewards excellence and penalises waywardness is surely in the spirit of the game. We admire their skills even more, I think. Yes, absolutely true on that one. Can't agree more on that. Ian, Ohio, I wish it's usually wet Dumfries. Yep, it's wet here as well. It's just wet in the UK, wet and cold, although it's not as cold today and yesterday as it's been this weekend. So the wife, my son and my daughter, we went to a place where you can buy Christmas trees. So effectively you pick out a Christmas tree, however big one you want anyway. And then they stick it through that little kind of chute, which then nets it up, and then you can carry it to your car, or you can have a Newfoundland, which is for the guys who do not know what a Newfoundland is. It's a dog. It's a massive dog with just loads of hair. Just looks, combing that thing will be mental. But they're lovable, cuddly things. And they basically tow a trailer behind them, because they're big dogs, and they take your tree to the car. You to drink. So anyway, we did that. And yeah, that was cold. Like ridiculously cold. Like I got the tree in my car and the tree had frost. The tree was white, not because of the netting around it. The tree was white because it was just so blooming cold. Defrosted when we got it in the house. Water started dripping off it. There was towels underneath just trying to take the water off. That was quite funny. Richard said, I hit top flights, the harder the better. Wow, those are like marbles. Makes me work harder to get the necessary spin to hold the greens. You will not hold a green through spin on a top flight. It's descent angle only. Those things launch so high off the face. They are ionomer covers, and they are just no grip whatsoever. They just slip straight up the face and just go like that. And pitch higher and softer for some same reason. I even keep them in a hot garage to cook them. Anything you can do for a top flight, because a top flight is just, yeah. Richard, Ask GolfNut, your chat display is still scrolled up. Yeah, I know, sorry. I've now got back down to everyone, so sorry, Richard. Back there now. Carl says, because they need more spin. Was that for the answer of, so if harder balls go further, why does everyone recommend soft golf balls for slow swing speed players? And Carl says, because they need more spin. That is actually 100% true. Giving you the 100 for that. There's actually a different reason though. So I play an RB Tour. I play the RB Tour ball. I don't play, yay, no. I don't play the Tour X. Why? If a harder golf ball, a higher compression golf ball will go further. And that will. That is actually, for my swing speed, that is one of the longest golf balls in golf. The Mizuno RB Tour X. As opposed to, oh my giddy aunt, down here. The old ball from Mizuno, which was one of the shortest one for my speed. Just goes to show how much difference one generation of golf balls will make, especially from one company. So the new Mizuno RB Tour X is one of the longest golf balls for my speed, and does very, very well, to be fair, for all swing speeds as a general rule. And that's the Tour X, but I don't use it. I use the Tour, but why is that? Yes, I'm going to give a certain amount of distance away. When I say a certain amount of distance, I'm not talking 10 yards. I'm talking 3. That's it. Not a lot. Maybe 4 at a push. But because I like the feel of it, it's softer. I don't like hard, clicky golf balls. I hated the resin, the Nike RZN balls, because they were literally like hitting metal golf ball. It was like marble. It was just nasty, and I didn't like it. Didn't putt with it very well, didn't feel like I could chip with it very well. It just felt like it come off the face with no feel whatsoever. I like the soft ball. If they make this ball in this kind of premium, which they don't, obviously physics goes against it, but can you remember the old Wilson DX2s? They were like putty. I loved them. They were great. But yeah. So anyway, that's differences. But yes, they need more spin, that's true. They do. But also another reason. Bruce says, a guy at my club only uses Slazenger balls because they feel best with his putter. There you go. Perfect. If he is much better with a putter because of his golf ball choice, which is absolutely like feel with a putter. If you have not got speed control, it doesn't matter how good you are at reading a golf line. You don't matter how good you are at reading the green. It makes no difference. If you cannot control speed, it's a waste of time, because a straight putt needs good speed. A curving putt absolutely needs a good control of speed. And if you haven't got that, doesn't matter. Well, you wouldn't have it. What does that mean? I can't remember. Richards, our range balls are Pinnacles soft. Meh. Pinnacles soft. They make a Pinnacle soft, as in Pinnacles soft. Pinnacles always should be hard as nails. But no. This is the thing. I go that because I like to putt with it. I like to chip with it. I like the approach play. I like the feel off the face with 7 irons and stuff. I don't care about the 3 yards. The 3 yards with the driver that I'm missing out by using this ball as opposed to the X version because of the higher compression, etc., and the slight advantages you're going to get with the trajectory of the launch and spin and stuff like that. You're going to get from that golf ball over the standard tour. I'm going to be giving back anyway when it comes to the short game area because I just don't like the feel of hitting a marble. But there you go. So, people that have listened to this long, so you guys know I'm doing the giveaway at the moment, and I've got another video hopefully coming tomorrow, depending on what happens, because I'm a bit busy at certain points tomorrow. So if I can get the video done and uploaded, I was a little bit late today. I normally tried to get it out for about 3:30 or so, and didn't come out until around like 5:15 because I was just a bit busy, and so just made it. But tomorrow, if I can get the question out, I will. And it's going to be surrounded about a completely different weird and wacko, not like weird and wacko. It's an interesting take. This is a fairly, I will do a 2 parts question and answer. And the chances are what I will do is I will obviously bracket these, kind of band it. So in ranges, and I'll say that if someone, let's say I'm talking about how far does the average driver go, and how much difference does 2 degrees of loft make on a driver spin-wise? That's nothing to do with anything, right? But what I'm saying is I will then 2-part question, and if someone gets within 20% of the number, that'll be 5 points, 40% of the number, 4 points, 60% 3, 8% 2, and 100% as in a case of if they're twice the amount out, then they still score, and more, they still gain 1 point. That's the whole idea. And so the people that get like very, very close to the right answer will get their full 5 points. For 2, obviously there's 2-part, and it will be. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, so obviously, because if not, you guys will have the opportunity in the next 24 hours to literally scour the internet and find out the answers. But it's something to do with greens and regulation, about an increase or a decrease in greens and regulation, and is also something to do with no, I won't say, because I don't want to start. I don't want to give it away too much. But benefits and weaknesses, as in the case, is there a positive or a negative outcome doing something, and out of that, is there a positive or negative outcome from doing that in something else, which makes a difference to your game. There you go. I love Evan roll putters, or what's the, hang on, putter, yeah, miss hits do seem to go the same distance. A very stable head. If you've got a very, very high MOI head, then you're going to get a better transition or transmission, sorry, of ball speed to your club head speed, even if you slightly mishit it. Richard Becks, I hit 14 greens in regulation recently. Made one, count them one of the birdie, made one, count them one of the birdie putts. That's 14 greens in reg, Rich. That's good. That's very, very good. That's very, very good. Well done. I've hit 18 greens a few times, just because of my approach play. My iron play is very good. I mean, I've got weaknesses and strengths like everyone else has, but my iron play is generally speaking very, very good. So I've hit 18 greens a few times. The problem is obviously, as a general rule, when you're hitting 18 greens, your putts are longer. Oh, and I had a 3-putt to kill that birdie. Yeah, that will do that. Yeah. But you're going to do that. You hit 14 greens in regulation. That means when you're doing really well in GIR, in greens in regulation, then you have to then start start to think a slightly different way. So when you're talking about a high handicap golfer who doesn't hit greens in regulation, you are looking at trying to look at ways of how they can play naturally within their game to do things so much better for free, not doing massive swing changes or having to go do like expensive lessons or spend lots of money on golf equipment. They just do something in their decision making differently to make a much better result. That's free. Yeah, that's the whole idea why I've started doing it from Stats to Stroke show. Which will either be popular or not, we'll know. We know. Doesn't matter. It's an important thing that people really need to know. But what you'll find is that you can't help. It's the length of your first putt. So it's not, once you get to the level what you're saying there, 14 greens of regulation, which is a really good number. That metric now, that parameter, you kind of have to then dump off, and then you'll concentrate on a completely different one. It's your proximity to the hole per green in reg. And then that's the number that you need to work on, because you're already hitting a really good number of greens. Now it's a case of looking at how you hit those greens. Are there better decisions that you can make even within hitting a green, which is a massive win, but then getting yourself within closer proximity. It doesn't have to be far, doesn't have to be massive. It's just a case of, it's not giving you more chance at birdie. It's not that. It's more so taking away the chances of you three putting, and that's the most important thing. Okay, I've just seen Kyle's. So Neil says, at Kyle, I agree, I'm a good putter, but even better with an Evan roll. Yes, I'm now going to get to Kyle. Kyle says, I've hit 14 greens of regulation too, over 54 holes. That's very funny. Well done, I like that. It's very clever. Bruce Troy, in reference to slashing balls, I tried telling him that because of that crazy golf putter, none of his other clubs work as well because of that ball. Hence, he wouldn't have it comment. Hence, then he wouldn't have it comment. Didn't get the last bit, sorry. Richard says, Foresight says take 5%, half of 10. Yep. Of the distance to the green, and that's the no-go zone around the edge of the green. Out of what's left, you can target close to the pin. Foresight says take 5% of the distance to the green, so 150. Are we saying that as that's distance to the pin or distance to the green? So let's say the pin's at 170 and it's 10 on, so it's saying 160 yards to the green, 10%, so 8 yards. And that's the no-go zone around the edge of the green. So 8 yards around the edge. Bruce Troy, Rich, it's how close your approach shot is rather than just your green regulation number. If you're 30 foot away on 13 greens in regulation and then make one birdie putt is fair. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would always say, so one of the most important, if pin is in the no-go, you can't go for it. Oh, so, sorry, I apologize. So 160 yards to the front of the green, if it's 8 yards on, or 8 yards within, is a no-go area. That's a very, very good point, but for very good golfers. 5% discrepancy on deviation of dispersion is good, is very, very good. Generally speaking, you're going to be looking at golfers have far, far greater than 5%. I mean, you're looking at high, well, not even high handicap golfers. You're talking, again, I've got to be careful what I say and how many things I say on the basis that obviously there is a competition going on. What I say now will be used against me going forward. It's like reading people's rights. You do not have to say anything. Anyway, but yes, you're right there. When you're looking at high handicap golfers or even mid handicap golfers, 15 handicap golfers, they regularly are out by 10% of their distance, as in deviation. And so, but yeah, you are right. From a better player's point of view, Richard, you are absolutely right. Yeah, and that's a very, very, again, I'll say what I said at the video this afternoon. I'm not quite sure if you saw it or not when it comes to the answer to, obviously, the first whole question. For a front pin, I don't go for that front pin. I never go for a front pin when I'm playing. If that's red, and I know it's at the front, and I obviously get my laser thingy out, my, yeah, there you go. That's what I use, and it says it's obviously at the front, and I'm not touching it. I'm going for the middle of the green. I will add yardage to that and play that yardage. Just, it is not worth messing with any pin where for what, no different to the back green. Now, as a general rule, I don't hit long, yeah? So I'm very good at being able to hit my number, or I'm slightly short, number slightly short, kind of that idea. My deviation does not really go long because I've got a decent control with my irons at least. I've got a very good control over distance. When it comes to the back pin, I go in between back and the middle. I give myself a little bit more because I know my patterns of dispersion when it comes from an iron. Front pin, not messing with that. I'm going to the middle of the green. So if I hit a good shot, middle of the green, no problem. If I hit a slightly poor one, it's going towards that pin, but I know full well that it's not going to be dropping short and put me in the nasty, like on the 16th of Thetford is a perfect example. There's a horseshoe bunker around the front. If you do not catch, it right and you not go and do the full carry, that is dead. That is as tall as me, near enough, to get out. The green starts from up here. Okay, I'm sitting down at the moment, but you kind of get the idea. And so if you're in there, that's really hard. And so don't do that. I mean, that's like the world's worst mistake ever to make. Stop being greedy, go for the middle, job done. Oh, I'm clicking stuff again. Oh, still clicking stuff again. There we go. Carl says, Niels, I've got the CR2 centre shafted and there's a CR2 double bend on the way too now. I need to go to therapy. You do. Stop buying stuff. Rich says, yep, critical to minimise size of the dispersion pattern. I work on it constantly. Good. Rich said, Foresight's right. I'm just parroting what he says to do. That's the essence of knowledge, isn't it? Effectively, parrot fashion the right knowledge as such. Yeah. But effectively, that's what learning is, isn't it? So Richard says dispersion pattern should be half left, half right, 40% long, 60% short. People need to know this. In true terms, yes. Yes, I can, yeah, I agree. In simplistic terms, yes, you are right. Now, the only thing I would say that obviously left and right, absolutely fine. I'm just talking about pins going front, middle and back centered. If you're then talking about left and right, then dispersion patterns of missing the green will change depending on that and people's patterns effectively. But if you're talking about dispersion patterns to that pin, regardless of where it's on the green, yeah. Brutus of Troy, currently off 3. Not bad, sir. Not bad at all. But have hypermobility in my joints. Is there any ways to reduce the amount of lag I create and get a bit slappy handle draggy and put them out right sometimes? Yeah, just get older. As you get older, that will fix itself, don't worry. Hypermobility. Is there any ways to reduce the amount of lag I create? Without... yeah, I suppose. You can do certain things, like if you want to be really critical from a point of I want to work on a feel, then what you need is one of them, right? And for that is a point to it. Now I have a point as well, but this is a point to it. It's fairly sharp, right? So in your gloved hand, stick this underneath your watch like that. See what I mean? Yeah, kind of. When you're at the top, if you start getting any more than there, bear in mind, obviously your golf club comes up this way, so that's 90 degrees. If you then start, I don't know if you can, there you go. If you start going too much, It's going to be a painful experience. Just a, that's sharp. Yeah, and you can do that on the backswing on the way down. You don't have to hit shots with it. Don't hit shots with it. If not, you will stab yourself. But it's a great, anyone's got a pencil. Yeah, give it a sharpen. Don't use a compass, you know, like in an old mathematics set. Don't use a compass. That is sharp and that will stab you. But just stick it in there and you can work on the downswing, yeah? That will limit how much radial deviation you can put in. Don't stab yourself. Right, so Carl, never get treatment, just stay as you are. And the golf industry, I love it. Yeah, stay as you are if you can. Hypermobility is brilliant to have, especially when you get old. You don't have that problem. When Carl says, when I've already got 7 putters, what's the harm in an 8th? You've got more putters than I have. British are dry. Nice, cheers, bud. I'll try that. I'll drill that. Yeah. So just be careful. They're handy things. Pencils. Don't stab yourself. Someone said to me a little while ago that actually stabbing yourself with graphite stuff. Obviously, what pencil? They see pencil lead. It's not lead in your pencil. It's graphite, isn't it? Yeah, getting that inside is potentially not very good for you. I don't know, I hadn't heard that for many years, but apparently that's what I used to say. Right, time is now 8:45, so we've been going for nearly 2 hours. So I might want to wrap this up if we can, unless anyone's got anything to input. Now, what I will be doing very, very, very soon is I thought I'd do a little bit of a fun episode of me answering Facebook. So what I'm going to do is, I had this idea. And tell me if you like it or not. So the people that can reply, I'll tell you what, hang on a minute. Let's just do a little bit of fun. Do you want me to answer Facebook questions? Oh, questions from random golfers. Asking random golfers, because it could be quite funny with some of the things. Right. Here's a, hopefully that's a, there we go. Right. So we have a poll up on there, and it's not, we have a poll. Basically, you've got to answer, I got this idea from, it's from YouTube. It's because I like learning about all different types of things, and it was like there was a person, is it Jay's 2 Cents, which is a PC computer YouTuber, and he was asked, yeah, he was basically went on Discord and different places and just grabbed people's questions of what they've asked other people, and if it gets you subscribers to the channel, yes. Thank you, Alistair. I appreciate it. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Good discussions today. It is, Niels. It's been a fun one. It carries on. Brits Rich, wouldn't it be better to see the left-right dispersion favouring one side so that you can consistently play with shape into the green? Actually, there is a bit of a, in true terms, taking one side of the golf course out of the equation is actually a complete myth. It doesn't actually work that way. I don't mind the whole idea of the premise being taught that way, because you're more so, I've used it in the past, but I'm more so doing it to trigger a certain response in people's brains so they can trust to do certain things rather than, yeah, but point, yeah. Rich, do you log it on an app? Golf Smart, I play all par 3 on my sim, have greens and regulations up to 93.4% now. Jeez me, that's good. Agree, 110% J. It's total BS taking out one side. It is. I don't mind the use of the term, because in certain ways, especially the correct use of the term can, if you're especially trying to, Rich, are you a coach or a custom fitter, or are you just a, not say, or you just, that's wrong to say, or are you a good player? just, yeah. Nope, on my scorecard, on my scorecards and in my nightmares, yeah. When you the whole idea when you're trying to like commit to a swing change, you're doing something different, and they're concerned about dispersion patterns and stuff like that. I've used terminology like that, as in, well, if you do this, this helps take out one side of the golf course and all like that, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to move their massive miss that they've got out to the right. So it's no good them having I only miss out to the right, you hit either straight or out to the right. Yeah, but if your one out to the right is 68 yards to the right, that's no good unless you've got another hole next to you. But it's just no good. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to use certain words and stuff like that, but and get their brain into a certain level to which they can carry on forward. Effectively, what you really want is actually a fairly controllable left and right miss. That is the most favourable from the point of view scoring. But why people don't like that, and why I don't necessarily use that terminology, is because then people don't like the uncertainty of where the golf ball is going to go, because they don't know where to aim and all this lot. So sometimes with people especially, you have to use the right language so it triggers the right positive response in their head, not in any way, shape or form have a negative connotation to something, because then you lose them. And as soon as you've lost them, it takes a long time to get them back again. Richard Bicker says, I'm a golf nut. So am I. AskGolfNut. Have been since the first time I picked up a club and hit pure like the babe in the high heels. Yes. Although your backside doesn't look half as good. Almost 60 years ago, not a pro, more knowledge than capable, alas, yeah. So, it's good. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, golf knowledge is the brilliant thing about golf knowledge, and I will say this, that you don't have to be a pro to have pro level knowledge. Effectively, you can be not a pro and have far more knowledge than a pro. It's more down to the individual and how much time and effort they spend learning stuff for themselves. Take a certain amount of what people say anyway, because obviously that's the basis of understanding knowledge. Yes, you learn things when you're a child, when you're a baby, from your parents going goo goo gaga, and then you're responding and stuff, and you're learning certain things like then you learn from school and stuff. But there's always going to be certain things which you challenge, and you need to challenge to take that learning, fully understand it, and if anything, understand sometimes that what you're learning isn't quite right for you. There's many different ways to learn. If we all taught everybody the same way, it would then disadvantage a lot of people because they learn in different styles. And so you need to make sure that you challenge in the right way and learn from many different sources. Richard says, agree, learn the diff between knowing and doing while playing pool and losing dollars way back then. Yeah, I bet that was, yeah, right down the middle is where it goes. Oh yeah. Brutus says, how good are you at learning something and manifest it into movements? I'm a great a copier, effectively. So I can see, and if I see it, I can then do it as a general rule. So I fairly like DIY and stuff like that. So I've learned to do many things that I do myself. Because my dad is very practical in what he's done within his life, I've spent time with him and just watched what he done and stuff like that. And so effectively I can do certain things, possibly things I really shouldn't do in certain aspects, but I do it because I believe and I know that I'm competent enough to do it. But again, it's, yeah, different people are different. So, right. How are we getting on with the, let's have a look at the, how many people? So we've got 10 votes so far. All of them saying 100% that I should make a little video series of answering daft questions. I'm not quite sure if I asked, what should I name it? Because I don't want to be saying answering people's stupid questions, because that would be quite funny, but then I then don't, excuse me, YouTube Winnie Pops. I then don't want to, if someone then reads and they have asked it, I then don't want to offend that individual on the basis of me saying it's a stupid question. Because there is no such thing as stupid question. There is no such thing as a stupid question. It may be stupid from a vastly more knowledgeable individual, but I'm a great believer of the first point of knowledge, of understanding how to improve your understanding of things going forward, is the first bit is I do not know. And if you can say that openly and without ridicule, that I do not know, and be honest about it, it puts you in a greater stead to actually learn and progress your understanding. Fudging it doesn't actually help. You need to be able to put your hands up and say, look, I'm just being stupid here. Either you're not explaining it very well, which may not be the case, or I'm not understanding it, which is possibly the most definite case. Can you dumb it down enough so my stupid brain can understand it? And you dumb it down enough, and so then your brain can absorb it in your own way, because it may just be a case of the individual that is trying to say something is teaching it to you in a way that your style of learning isn't necessarily compatible at the same speed. So you have to then change your speeds to be able to learn at that same level. So the individual who's teaching also has to be able to do things in a slightly different way to enable the individual to learn. But once you've got that, that's the whole idea of it. Richard, enjoyed it, folks. Got to go. Convert some fluorescent lights to LEDs. There you go. That's fun. So long. Good hitting. See that, Rich. Bruce, Troy, Rich sounds like a laugh. Is that a sarcastic one, or did you geek out and go flicker proof? I don't know. So I don't know who Brutus the Troy is. I'm not quite sure if he's got a wicked sense of humour. Can you show me how to spell stupid? What is that? Good mission, enjoy. Yeah. So see you later, Rich. So we got 11. Joking, I thought you were. I read that and I'm thinking, obviously, because the problem with reading something is there's no, what's the way, there's no inference of anything. You can't sort of say something when people actually know what you're trying to say. It's just a case of you write something down on keyboard and you're hoping that people will read it the right way, or hoping I'll read it the right way. So, asking questions even the golf nut doesn't even understand, has opinion about. Do you know what? And this is not me boasting, because I love doing this. I love the whole idea of this concept. I haven't as yet found a question, golf related obviously. If you're going to ask me about structural engineering of a bridge, I might choke on that one. But I haven't found anything really within the golf technically which is out of my ability to be able to explain. At least go through. I love technical questions. I love the whole understanding of delivery and how people can make things better for themselves and stuff like that. So anyone who wants to ask as most difficult technical questions as possible, on the basis of not just trying to trick me up, although you can do if you want to, because it is a bit of fun. But if it's under the basis of you learning primarily, then all the better. Joking, yeah. Reading is like talking to someone with no eyebrows. I can't stand reading. I hate reading, can't stand. Now, I haven't read a book properly in probably 30 years. Now, when you're talking about a manual, when you're talking about a schematic of something and stuff like that, yes, absolutely. But I haven't read a fictional book in, yeah. Even when I'm watching stuff on YouTube, I'm learning stuff, I will regularly put the speed up to 1.5 or 1.8 times, because it just takes too long. Probably do the same thing when it comes to my content with my 25-minute long reviews of a single golf club. That can take a while, so putting that one at 1.5 times. Although generally speaking, I do speak quite quick, so it might be interesting listening to me. Probably sound like some form of gerbil. If you listen to me at 1.8 times. So Carl says, what temperature are Mizuno golf clubs forged at? Oh my word. What exact speed does the earth rotate? Exact? What exact? Hot. They come out yellow. Those billets of steel come out yellow. Now obviously that would depend on different things will glow at different temperatures and stuff like that. Yeah, I kind of get that. Lots, as in like there's going to be something daft like 1,000 degrees or 1,100 degrees or something daft. So it's not going to be too hot that it melts. Obviously, it needs to be malleable, but not too hot that it melts. It might be actually in that sense. It might be 800-900 degrees, something like that. Bruce Troy, what is the drag coefficient of the Mizuno head cover? Lots. Now, the technical nut is lots. Now, I've done when I'm warming up, I'll actually swing a driver with the head cover on because of the fact that of the drag coefficient you get with that. Title for your YouTube video, GolfNut has to answer this stuff. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. That could work. So with, I think everyone is in, there you go, Ted. Oh, Ted's been on Google, loving it. 950 to 1250. That's interesting, that one. Centigrade, thank you, Ted. The only way to properly measure temperature. That's a big zone. A 300 degree zone of temperature is a large amount. Now, that's an interesting one, that one. That is interesting. Right, so let's end the poll. That's a yes. So what I end up might be doing is I might, there you go. Do you want to answer? Yes, no nos. One revolution, what exact speed does it rotate at? 1 revolution per minute on Earth speed. Well, 1 revolution per day on Earth speed, possibly, not per minute. That'd be quick. What does spin really fast? I can't remember now. Which one spins like ridiculously quick compared to the Earth? This is the Golf. Yeah, depends on the steel and what the characteristics you want to achieve. Yeah, because that's an interesting one, Ted. Because I mean, 950 to 1250 degrees centigrade, or Celsius. Degrees Celsius, yeah, centigrade. Big difference, 300 degrees, and so I've got no doubt that it's not going to melt. I mean, I'm guessing that kind of steel doesn't melt until you get to possibly 14, maybe 1500 degrees C. But still, 300 degrees is a vast, big. Maybe that within that 300 degree zone, it has very little, if any, difference on its properties, and so I would have thought that within reason they'd probably run a tight ship on trying to keep that furnace running about 1,000 degrees C, because of the extra cost of keeping it 200 degrees hotter would be vast over the year. So yeah, I'm guessing they do something like that. Yeah, that's boring anyway, so sorry about that, geeking out on people. So right, if everyone's happy, we'll leave it there. People are starting to fall asleep. So it's been a pleasure as always. I need to get up out of my chair because my poor bum has now welded itself to this seat. And just moving from cheek to cheek. It's not good. Guessing higher temperature would be for the initial block mold. Well, if you're going to be mashing it, doing its biggest movement, it needs to be more malleable, so the hottest temperature would potentially, serve that purpose. Neil says, Mizuno says 1200. So is that for all its forging process, as in for every single one? So it's very, very soft to mold. But yeah, it was an interesting one, yeah. Good night, lads, says Brutus. So, everybody, for the people that, before they go, obviously, for the open all access guys, you'll have to wait another month to watch these ones. I do this every single Monday, but the Monday ones are for members only. So if you want to, there you go, Art of Forging. Niels is on the case. If you want to enjoy the live streams, by all means, guys, you have to be a member, and you can join by looking at my main YouTube homepage. Next to subscribe, it is the join. If you click on there, and I think it's the lowest tier, which is I think £3.99 a month, so not a lot of money, but it gives you access to all the live streams and all the chats that we have, like this, about all new upcoming product and stuff like that. So. Thank you very much, everybody. Yes, there actual is no stupid questions, Carl. Absolutely there isn't. Look what happened when I asked just one stupid question. Yeah, I know, that's what happens. just goes on. So it's been a pleasure, everyone. Later, J. Arnold Palmer mix on nightstand will ship this week. Right, no worries. You are a funny man. Thank you very much. Right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ted, as well. I'll message you after this one. But yeah, appreciate all the input. Thank you for everybody's time and the great questions. And wait, hopefully tomorrow we'll be getting hole 2, question number 2 for the person, and we'll start getting this leaderboard going. I've got the leaderboard going already. It looks a bit bland at the moment, a little bit kind of boring. There's been no formatting or of any color or anything else like that, but it's functional. There's some VLOOKUP functions in there and some other bits and pieces in there as well. So I'm absolutely flexing the old Excel muscles, but yeah, we're having fun anyway. Right. See you later, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much as always, and we'll catch everyone in the next, well, all the members will be in the next live stream in 7 days' time, next Monday, and I will catch people throughout the week with the other uploads, of which I'm hoping to get done as best as possible. So see you later, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Nighty night.